The starship Eclipse hung in the void, a sleek, obsidian dagger cutting through the darkness of space. Inside its cold, metallic corridors, Commander Kael'thar of the Zorathian Empire stood at the observation deck, his four-fingered hands clasped behind his back. His crimson eyes, slit-pupilled like a predator's, reflected the distant glow of a blue and green planet below. Earth. Kael'thar's mandibles twitched in frustration. He had been sent here on a mission of conquest, to assess the planet's defenses and prepare for the inevitable invasion. The Zorathian Empire did not tolerate resistance, and humanity, though primitive, had shown a disturbing tendency to fight back. But now, as he gazed upon the swirling clouds and vibrant oceans of Earth, he felt something he had never experienced before. The door to the observation deck hissed open, and Kael'thar's secondary heart quickened. He knew who it was before she even spoke. "Commander," came the soft, melodic voice of Lieutenant Elara Voss, the human liaison assigned to his crew. "The Council is requesting an update on your assessment." Kael'thar turned slowly, his towering frame casting a shadow over her. Elara was small by Zorathian standards, barely reaching his chest, but her presence was anything but diminutive. Her auburn hair was tied back in a practical bun, and her hazel eyes held a spark of defiance that both intrigued and unnerved him. "Tell the Council I am still evaluating the situation," Kael'thar replied, his voice a deep rumble. "Earth's defenses are more complex than anticipated." Elara raised an eyebrow. "Complex? Or are you just stalling?" Kael'thar's mandibles clicked in irritation. "You overstep your bounds, Lieutenant." "Do I?" She stepped closer, her gaze unwavering. "Because it seems to me that you're having second thoughts about this whole conquer Earth thing." Kael'thar turned back to the observation window, his claws flexing involuntarily. Elara had a way of cutting through his defenses, of seeing through the facade of the ruthless warrior he was supposed to be. It was both infuriating and captivating. "I am Zorathian," he said, his voice low. "I was bred for war, trained to conquer. My loyalty is to the Empire." "And yet," Elara said softly, "you're still here, talking to me instead of leading the invasion." Kael'thar's secondary heart pounded in his chest. She was right, of course. He had delayed the invasion for weeks, citing the need for more intelligence, more preparation. But the truth was far more complicated. He had grown to admire humanity, their resilience, their creativity, their capacity for love and compassion. It was unlike anything he had ever encountered. And then there was Elara. Her courage, her wit, her unwavering belief in the goodness of her species. She had awakened something in him, something he had thought long buried. "I am forbidden to love you, human," Kael'thar said, the words slipping out before he could stop them. Elara blinked, her expression softening. "Forbidden? By who?" "Your empire. Or yourself." Kael'thar hesitated. The Zorathian Empire had strict laws against fraternization with lesser species. To love a human was to betray everything he had been taught, everything he had fought for. And yet, both, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Elara stepped closer, her hand reaching out to touch his arm. The contact sent a jolt through him, his exoskeleton tingling where her skin met his. "Kael'thar," she said, her voice gentle, "you don't have to follow their rules. You can choose your own path." He turned to face her, his crimson eyes searching hers. "And if I choose you?" Elara smiled, a small, sad smile. "Then you'll have to fight for us. Not just for Earth, but for the idea that love can transcend species, that it's worth defying an empire for." Kael'thar's mind raced. The consequences of such a choice would be dire. He would be branded a traitor, hunted by his own kind. But as he looked into Elara's eyes, he realized that he no longer cared. "I will fight," he said, his voice firm. "For you. For Earth. For the chance to prove that even a Zorathian warrior can change." Elara's smile widened, and she stood on her toes to press a kiss to his mandible. It was an awkward gesture, given their differences, but it filled Kael'thar with a warmth he had never known. The invasion began at dawn. Kael'thar stood on the bridge of the eclipse, his heart heavy as he watched the Zorathian fleet descend upon Earth. He had done everything he could to prepare humanity for the attack, sharing intelligence, devising strategies, but he knew it would not be enough. The Zorathian Empire was relentless, and Earth's defenses were no match for their advanced technology. But Kael'thar had one advantage. He knew the enemy's weaknesses. "Commander," Elara's voice crackled over the comms. "We're ready." Kael'thar nodded, his resolve hardening. "Begin the counterattack." The plan was risky, but it was their only hope. Using the Eclipse's systems, Kael'thar had hacked into the Zorathian fleet's communication network, feeding them false data and sowing confusion among their ranks. Meanwhile, Earth's forces launched a coordinated assault, targeting the fleet's command ships. The battle was fierce, the sky lit with the fiery explosions of Zorathian warships. Kael'thar fought alongside humanity, his claws tearing through the enemy with a ferocity born of desperation. He had made his choice, and there was no turning back. But even as the tide began to turn in Earth's favor, Kael'thar knew the fight was far from over. The Zorathian Empire would not take this defeat lightly. They would come back, stronger and more determined than ever. As the last of the Zorathian ships retreated, Kael'thar stood amidst the wreckage, his body battered but his spirit unbroken. Elara approached him, her face streaked with soot and tears. "We did it," she said, her voice trembling. "We won." Kael'thar shook his head. "This is only the beginning. The Empire will not rest until Earth is theirs, or until I am dead." Elara reached up to cup his face, her touch gentle despite the chaos around them. "Then we'll keep fighting. Together." Kael'thar leaned into her touch, his mandibles twitching in what passed for a smile among his kind. "Together," he agreed. In the weeks that followed, Kael'thar became a symbol of hope for humanity. The alien warrior who had turned against his own kind to defend a world not his own. He and Elara worked tirelessly to strengthen Earth's defenses, forging alliances with other species who had suffered under the Zorathian Empire's tyranny. But even as they prepared for the next battle, Kael'thar found moments of peace. Moments where he could simply be with Elara, away from the war and the weight of his choices. One evening, as they stood on a hill overlooking the city, Kael'thar turned to Elara. "Do you ever regret it?" he asked. "Choosing me?" Elara smiled, her eyes shining with affection. "Never. You've shown me that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope. And love." Kael'thar's secondary heart swelled with emotion. He had once believed that love was a weakness, a distraction from his duty. But now he knew better. Love was strength. Love was worth fighting for. As the sun set, casting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Kael'thar took Elara's hand in his. "I am forbidden to love you, human," he said, his voice filled with conviction. "But I will defy the stars themselves to keep you safe."